Welcome back to V.O.C. YouTube channel. Week 2 in the NFL is over. We now move over to Week 3 starting tonight. Today we're going to do a quick look back at Week 2 with some hot, heavy hits. And then I'm going to get my grievance as a Bears fan. I'll get my frustration out. You're going to see me go crazy talking about Justin Fields in the current war him and the Bears are in. And then we're going to look at this week's picks. So let's jump into it. I wanted to look back at Week 2 quickly, not give too much into it, just because we're so early into the year still. And even though teams have started 0-2, 2-0, 1-1, and we think we know these teams, we don't know them yet. So I just wanted to go down a quick little bullet point of about probably 6 or 7 things that I think are interesting as the season progresses. Number one being the Bengals starting 0-2. Not what I expected, not what anybody expected. Joe Burrow re-injures his calf. The Bengals as a whole, their team, their organization, their fan base re-injured their calf. That's what it feels like. So that's very interesting to see moving forward how if he plays or not. If he doesn't, it's going to be very, very dicey. I don't understand both the Chargers and the Broncos. The Chargers have as much talent as any team in the NFL. Brandon Staley sucks. That's basically why. He's an awful coach. And then the Broncos, you have Russell Wilson, you have some talent, Sean Payton, and you're still bad. Both teams are 0-2. I just don't fully understand it as of right now, 2 weeks in. But like I said, it's so early. We'll see how it continues to move on. Cowboys and Eagles are on a collision course for 2 big-time matchups, or maybe not. Look, Cowboys have started well. Defenses looked very good. Still early. Dak is whack. Remember that. Eagles are a much better team, so it'll be interesting to see how they continue to progress. Who would have thought the Seahawks and Lions would have been Electric City last week, right? Like, I picked the Seahawks to beat the Lions. Thank you for the free money, Randy. I knew the Seahawks were going to win that game. They ended up winning that game in overtime. But every time they play, it's fun. It's electric. They keep it, it's like old school football watching it, and I really like it. And that's what it's like watching a Lions game in general. But I thought that game in particular was probably my favorite game to watch over the weekend. Vikings, look, they need to rebuild. You're stuck in the middle. Teams, I think, are afraid to rebuild just because of how long it takes. You look at the Bears, you look at some of these other teams where they feel like they've been rebuilding forever. But look, Kirk Cousins hasn't been bad. Justin Jefferson, Jordan, you have offensive pieces, but you're 0-2. Clearly, your offensive firepower does not lead to wins. So you might want to relook at building. Falcons, Saints, and Bucks, all 2-0. Watch out. Not really. Let's call them the Jets right now on these 3 teams. I still think someone wins this division with a losing record. And then the last one, the Monday night game was it was painful to watch because neither the Steelers fly off paper on offense. Kenny Pickett has moments, but as a whole, not very good. Deshaun Watson has lost whatever he once had. He is definitely cursed in the NFL realm. His talent has been cursed after all the things he's gone through. And it's very interesting to see that a guy with a guaranteed contract, a lot of money, on a team that's talented is cursed, and his skill is not what it once was. And then the Browns are also cursed because they lose Nick Chubb with a horrific injury that I don't think it's going to be talked about enough, but not want to say it's career-ending injury, but it could be. All right, so that's my quick look back at Week 2. Okay, so now I'm going to get into the war that is the Bears and Justin Fields. So, as a Bears fan, I just don't understand sometimes how this organization does things, how they've thought. I kind of thought we've turned a page by doing the things that we have done. You get rid of Ted Phillips as president, finally. I'm like, that was just number one step ahead of, wow, we're doing very, very good. We bring in pieces that I think are going to work. Ryan Poles, I think his GM's going to work. He understands, we need to build through the offensive line, the defensive line, and in the trenches. Matt Eberflus bringing another defensive guy. That's what the Bears need. But we're 2 games in, and it's already crumbling. We're going into Week 3 where we play the Chiefs. We're 0-2. We've looked horrific. We lose to the Packers, which Packers are a decent team, playoff team in my opinion. But then we lose to the Bucs. We make Baker Mayfield look like the number 1 overall pick when he hasn't to many other teams. I just don't understand what has the Bears done in the history to look at God and have him and the football gods to be like, you know what, you guys are forever never going to be good. A quarterback's never going to be good there. It's awful. It's like makes me want to pull my hair out. Yesterday, Justin Fields was honest in his press conference, maybe a little too honest, but he was honest. And he kind of, asked him about his poor play the first 2 games, because a lot of people expected the Bears to be very good. I didn't. 6-win team, we're awful. We needed to suck. We need a lot of pieces. The defense is awful. The offensive line sucks. Justin Fields last year's out there doing whatever he can. This year, it's even worse because I don't know what's happened, but the coaching staff has thought, like, let's do this and that, and I don't understand how they want to utilize him. They want to make him fit into their system instead of putting a system around him. That's problem number 1, I think. But it's just been very fascinating to watch. But yesterday, Justin Fields was asked about his poor performance and why he thinks it's been that bad and kind of why he hasn't looked like himself on the football field. So let's hear from Justin Fields about what he said yesterday in his press conference.
Could be, coaching, I think. But, at the end of the day, it makes it, they're doing their job when they're giving me, what to look at and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I, can't be thinking about that when the game comes. I prepare myself throughout the week, and then when the game comes, it's, it's time to play free at that point. So, just thinking less and, playing more. I don't think it's too many coaching voices, but I just think when, you're fed a lot of information at a point in time and you're trying to think about that info, like when you're playing, it's like it doesn't let you play like yourself. I saw a few plays on Sunday to where if I was playing like my old self, like we would have had a positive play, like there would have been, a few more 3rd down conversions. So I think that's the biggest thing for me is just, playing the game how, I know how to play it, how I've been playing it my whole life. So that's what I got to get back to doing. So.
Look, he's blaming coaches. He is saying he doesn't feel himself when he's out there playing. I blame coaching 50% and I blame Justin Fields 50%. Because watching the Bucs game was clearly coaching doesn't make sense for the offensive realm of how his skill set is. He's not a pocket passer fully. He can throw the ball decently, but he wants to use his legs. I feel like if you let him run and use his legs, he gets more comfortable and then he can throw the ball better. He gets confident. But the play calls don't make sense. And then you have him where he has guys wide open down the field and he doesn't throw it. He instead takes a sack because he wants to run. That is clearly a mechanism that he has in his brain that says, I need to run the ball, I can run the ball. So I blame both sides here. But at the end of the day, he's not getting the best chance to succeed. They bring in DJ Moore, which we all think is going to help. But if he doesn't feel comfortable, if he doesn't feel like himself, if the offensive line isn't protecting him, he's forcing the ball all over the place, it's not going to work. If you wanted a pocket, this is going to be the big problem with the Bears, right? Is years ago we drafted Mitch Trubisky 2nd overall over Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson. Granted, we put both of them on the Bears. They don't look as good, in my opinion. But still, you make that decision. And then this year, I hope we don't look back and say, there was a chance to have either Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud. Clearly, the offense wants to be ran. The offensive coordinator has the theory of, hey, let's run this offense like the Packers, the 49ers, the West Coast system. Which is great if that's what you want to do, but then you should have drafted Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud and then traded Justin Fields. You had the number 1 overall pick. You had a chance at top of the pick when it came to this year's quarterback crop. But if you kept Justin Fields, you should have went with the route that the Eagles have gone down, where you build the offense around a running quarterback that can sustain runs, sustain an offense, and still throw the ball as well. Now, the Bears are nowhere as close talent-wise as the Eagles, as the 49ers, as the Packers, to be like, maybe this system works and maybe it doesn't. But when you're bad, trying to run a system that doesn't fit a quarterback, it looks worse. This is the biggest problem. You're stunting the growth of whatever Justin Fields had, maybe, if he had anything at all, which I think he does. He has talent. He makes plays throwing the ball where you're like, why can't he do that more consistently? Well, maybe the one argument is he's not comfortable in the offense that he runs. This whole thing just baffles me because at the end of the day, I get I'm a fan. I get I'm somebody that talks it, tries to be an expert, tries to look at it as a journalist. And for me, it's easy because I'm not in there and I'm watching and I'm that guy that's sitting on the couch watching, be like, this isn't that hard. But it's like, this shit's not that hard, really. I mean, we have a running quarterback. So let's make an offense where we can utilize his biggest weapon, which is running the ball, and still give him an opportunity to throw the ball and be successful at it. But no, this is not how the Bears think. The Chicago Bears never think this way. The Chicago Bears are like, you know what? We got a running quarterback. His number one weapon's running. Let's run an offense that sustains passing and making him stand back in the pocket and throw deep throws and make him a statue. This shit's not going to work, man. It's just not going to work. The way the NFL is moving, you want a running quarterback. You want a guy that can move his legs. You want him to do all of these things. You have one, and you don't run that off. That's what just irks me. It just irritates the hell out of me. I don't know if a lot of this is we don't like Justin Fields. We really like Caleb Williams and some of these other guys in this year's draft. So we're not going to give him the best chance. We're going to kind of tank him a little bit, and we're going to blame the problems on him. Go get a different quarterback. But who the hell is going to want to play for you? If you do this to guys, if that is ultimately what you ended up are doing, is you're tanking a career of a player. I think one of the biggest issues that Justin Fields has is not so-called the play calls and the way that the offense is being run. I think it's the belief. I don't think he truly believes in the building, that they believe in him or they don't. That's the biggest problem. That was a big problem with Mitch Trubisky and Matt Nagy, why that didn't work, and why Mitch Trubisky was even worse than what he maybe could have been, because when you don't have people that believe in you and you work with them every day and they're lying to you in the media and they're saying, well, we're fine, there's no big problems, there's no big deals. Guys can read past things. They're adults. They can read men. You can't bullshit NFL players. That's why most college coaches don't work in the NFL, because they kind of come in with the rah-rah, throw it in your face, throw a bunch of shit on the wall and see if it sticks. It doesn't work in the NFL. Guys get football. They understand how you value them and how you see them. So I really believe that is one of the biggest issues he has, is he doesn't have the belief in the building, in his opinion. And that is a very, very big, big problem. And it's only going to get worse, because I've watched the Bears now twice. 2 weeks. This is just the feeling that I get from him. Last year, we sucked. We were a bad team, but Justin Fields was fun to watch. You're still trying to figure out what Matt Eberflus is doing. Right now, you watch him in the 2 games, it feels like they don't like Matt Eberflus. They don't even understand the direction they're in. And they're not good again when I think they thought they'd be better. Everybody thought they'd be better. They're baffled just as much as us. But number one, it feels to me they do not like Matt Eberflus. Not saying he's bad or he's good. He likes to look very cool on the sideline with his glasses and his T-shirt. I don't care. I don't care what you look like, but when you're coaching a team that's bad, you don't win and you're bad, it makes it worse. But that is my number one theory with them, is they don't like him. They don't believe in him. They don't get the full grasp. And I think the team, sees a little bit that he doesn't believe in Justin Fields, that maybe the front office doesn't believe in Justin Fields. So they look at that and they take their animosity towards that, and they really show it. And look, they're 0-2. It's only going to get worse. They play the Chiefs this week. They're like 10.5-point underdogs. And the team isn't good, so it's going to be bad. 6 wins, maybe even worse at this point. But it's just baffling to me as a Bears fan, as I'm pulling my hair out and I'm like, what the hell is going on, is why the hell does this always happen? And a lot of it goes back to the way the Bears have been ran since the Godfather, George Halas, has died, which has been awful. And it goes back to that. It starts at the top. You blame the McCaskey family because they're not the smartest people when it comes to football in the way to run a team. But I just thought we were on the right direction. They made the right hires. I thought it was like a new energy. And then you have this shit happen where you have a war now breaking out, and it's only getting worse because it's going to be split down the middle where you're going to have coach and GM versus players, and that's never fun. It's only going to get worse, and it just irritates me. I don't get it. For once in my life, I would love to have a Bears team that is good, that I can watch and be like, oh my God, we are so good. We're talented. We have talent all over the place. It's just sickening because year after year after year, we're bad. And I don't get it. It's like this cycle that we're stuck in. And there's no light at the end of the tunnel. We're just stuck in black, and it's awful. It's like the blind leading the blind when it comes to running the Bears organization. It's awful, and it's only going to get worse. And if Justin Fields is saying this week 2, what the hell do we think he's going to be saying in week 10 when they're even worse? And they might not even have won a game by then. I just don't get it. I thought they were going to be bad. I just didn't think it'd be this bad. All right, now that that's over, now that my hair is thrown out and I can't even think at this point, let's get through my picks. Last week I had a very, very good week. I went 7-1, kind of dominated, 9-6 on the year, bounced back from an awful week 1. Corey, who I had on the show last week, Corey Martin, he went 4-4 in his picks, and not the greatest, but look, it's a 500, better than under 500, so I'll give him that credit. But he had some wacky picks, and clearly they didn't turn out. All right, let's hope we can stay hot this week. Falcons 2-0 at the Lions, 1-1. Lions are a 3-point favorite. I like the Lions in this one. I think the Falcons are a lot of glah, glue, glah, not a lot of good. I like the Lions. Titans 1-1 at the Browns, 1-1. -3.5 are the Browns as a favorite. I don't understand the Browns. From a standpoint of, you would think Deshaun Watson's good because he once was good. His window's gone. I'll pick the Titans in this one. All right. Patriots 0-2, -2.5 point favorite at the Jets, 1-1. The Jets, I don't understand their problems they want to blame on. They lose a guy who's a Hall of Famer, a guy you put everything into, you put all your chips into, you lose him, and then you only run the ball 11 times with a quarterback that you don't like either. You don't think he's good. I don't understand their psychological method. I think this game's ugly. It's nasty, and I think the Patriots win it. Saints 2-0 at the Packers, 1-1. Packers are a 1.5 point favorite. I think this will be an interesting game for Jordan Love against a defense like the Saints. Packers lose to the Falcons last week. Shouldn't have lost to the Falcons. This one's a tough one. I'm going to go Packers, but I think close. Chargers 0-2 at the Vikings, 0-2, -1. This is the 0-2 Bowl. This is the team where the Chargers are a young quarterback with a good roster, and we think they should be good. The Vikings are a team with an old quarterback and an average roster. I like the Chargers. Steelers 1-1 at the Raiders, 1-1. Raiders are 2.5 point favorites. This is interesting. The Steelers' defense is very, 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 very good. Their offense is subpar, other than like one play like they had Monday night. The Raiders, I don't fully understand yet. I think they're average. I don't think they're good, great, terrible. They're average. I like the Steelers. All right, Rams 1-1 at the Bengals, who are 0-2. Bengals are 3-point. I think this is interesting. This all depends on if Joe Burrow plays or not. If I'm the Bengals, you're already 0-2. Sit Joe Burrow. Don't force him to play. Don't force him to re-injure, tear the Achilles. Don't force him to do anything crazy. If Joe Burrow plays, I like the Bengals. This is contingent as I make this video Thursday. And if Joe Burrow doesn't play, the line's going to swing to the Rams. So this is one of those picks where it's very contingent on if Joe Burrow plays or not, or if he doesn't. If Burrow plays, Bengals. If Burrow doesn't play, Rams. I have all right to make a pick that way, especially as a Bears fan, is all the stuff that I'm going through. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. Breakdown, quick look back at week 2. What the hell is going on with the Bears? It is baffling. It's sickening. It makes me want to scream. That's what I want to do. Snap pencils and throw them at the camera. This is the problem. This is what this football team does to me. And I don't even, I thought they were going to suck, but I didn't think it would be this bad. And then this week's picks. Thanks for watching.